10 weirdest facts about sports. Number 10. Baseball players used to be paid in fruit. In the early days of baseball, players were paid in fruit instead of cash. Each team had a fruit cellar where they would store the fruit they had been given. The fruit was usually apples, but sometimes oranges or bananas. The players would then take their fruit money home to their families, who would either eat it or can it for later in the season. This practice continued until the late 1800s when canned fruit became more widely available. Number 9. In 1904, a man named Clarence Saunders accidentally invented the T-shirt while playing baseball. Saunders was a pitcher for the Philadelphia Athletics when he decided to cut the sleeves off his uniform shirt to make it easier to play in. This caused quite a stir among the more conservative baseball fans at the time, but Saunders didn't care. He felt that the T-shirt gave him an advantage on the field, and he continued to wear it even after the team's manager told him to stop. It wasn't until 1920 that T-shirts became standard uniform for baseball players. Number 8. The first professional basketball player was a woman. When basketball was first invented, it was considered a women's game. The first professional basketball player was a woman named Senda Berenson, who played for the Hartford in 1897. She was paid $10 a game, which was a lot of money back then. But despite the high pay, Berenson and the other women players were not considered real athletes by the male-dominated sports world. It wasn't until the 1970s that women's basketball finally started to gain acceptance as a legitimate sport. Number 7. The Olympics have been canceled more times than you think. The Olympic Games have been canceled a total of 16 times, including 4 times during World War II. The first cancellation was in 1916 when the Games were scheduled to be held in Berlin, but they were canceled due to the outbreak of World War I after that. The Olympics were held every 4 years until World War II, when they were again canceled in 1940 and 1944. Since then, the Games have been canceled 3 more times. In 1956, 1960, and 1964, due to various political and economic issues, but they have never been canceled twice in a row. The next Summer Olympics will be held in 2024 in Paris. Number 6. In the Ottoman Empire, the Sultan's wife could only open her mail if she was wearing a swimsuit. This may seem like an odd request, but it was actually a way to ensure that the Sultan's wives were not poisoning each other. The wives would write letters to each other using invisible ink, and then they would meet in the royal bathhouse, where they would read the letters aloud to each other while wearing swimsuits. If one of the wives was found to be using poisonous ink, she would be banished from the empire. Number 5. For years, pineapples in the 18th century used to be rented just for a single night to show wealth and power. People would rent live pineapples and put them on their tables to show that they were wealthy enough to afford such a luxury. After the party, they would return the pineapple to the rental place, so it could be used again. Number 4. In the Soviet Union, a woman could only become a rhythmic gymnast if she was under 16 years old. This was because the Soviet Union believed that older women were too mature to participate in such a frivolous activity. However, this rule was eventually relaxed, and women of all ages are now allowed to compete in rhythmic gymnastics. Number 3. In 1936, Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals at the Berlin Olympics despite having a broken foot. Owens won the 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump, and 4x100-meter relay. Despite his injuries, he refused to let his teammates run for him, and instead competed in all 4 events himself. His feat was all the more remarkable considering that he was competing against the backdrop of Nazi Germany's propaganda machine, which was attempting to convince the world that the Aryan race was superior to all others. Number 2. The ancient Olympic Games were funded by a tax on the male citizens of ancient Greece. This tax was called the chalkis, and it was collected by the Delphic Amphictyony, council of elders from all the Greek city-states. The money raised from the chalkis was used to pay for the expenses of the Olympic Games, such as the cost of hosting the event, the prizes for the winners, and the travel expenses of the athletes. Number 1. At the 1932 Summer Olympics, a boxer was knocked out by his own blood. It was a brutal fight between 2 welterweights, and it was clear that neither of them was going to back down. In the end, one of the boxers was knocked out, but not by a punch. He was knocked out by his own blood. As the fight raged on, the boxer was hit over and over again, until his eye was completely swollen shut. He couldn't see a thing, but he still managed to stand on his feet until the final bell. When the fight was over, the judges looked at the two welterweights and declared one of them the winner. And that winner was determined based on one simple factor: whose eye was less swollen shut.